Most people wake up and immediately hand over their morning to the world. Before their feet even hit the ground, they're already reacting, checking texts, scrolling through social feeds, glancing at emails, or flipping on the news. What they don't realize is that the small choice has enormous consequences. The moment you wake up, your mind is fresh, impressionable, and wide open. If you fill it with noise, comparison, and urgency, you've already lost the day before it even begins. You've set the tone of reactivity instead of clarity. And that's the difference between living deliberately and drifting through life on autopilot. Clarity doesn't happen by accident. It's cultivated. When you start your morning with intention, you're not just managing time, you're directing your consciousness. You're telling yourself, I decide what matters today. I choose the direction. That is an act of leadership over your own life. And make no mistake, the people who succeed at the highest levels are the ones who lead themselves first. They don't stumble into their day hoping for the best. They script it, shape it, and set the stage before the world demands a single thing from them. There's deep psychology behind this. Neuroscientists talk about decision fatigue. The brain can only handle so many choices before its quality of judgment begins to erode. That's why mornings are so powerful. Your willpower, your focus, your mental sharpness are at their peak right after you wake up. If you use that sacred window to establish clarity, by setting your top priorities, affirming your values, or simply taking a few minutes to visualize how you want to show up, you're using your sharpest mental energy on what matters most. But if you waste that peak state on trivial inputs, like refreshing notifications, then by the time you get to what actually matters, you've already drained the very energy you needed. Philosophers have been saying this for centuries in different words. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, reminded himself each morning to rise with purpose and prepare his mind for the challenges ahead. He didn't wait for clarity to arrive, he generated it. Modern psychology echoes the same truth. What you think about first thing in the morning sets a frame for how you interpret everything that follows. It's not about being positive all the time. It's about being intentional. Do you want to move through the day as a reactor to other people's agendas or as a creator of your own? And here's something we don't often talk about. Clarity is not just about productivity, it's about identity. When you begin your day by defining what matters, you're not just writing a to-do list, you're shaping who you want to be. Are you going to show up patient, focused, courageous? Or are you going to show up hurried, scattered, irritable? That choice gets made in the morning, whether you realize it or not. Each day is a rehearsal for the kind of person you are becoming, and the script begins as soon as you wake up. Now, this doesn't mean your morning has to be some long, complicated ritual. You don't need 2 hours of silence on a mountain to set clarity. It can be as simple as writing down 3 intentions, taking 5 minutes to breathe deeply, or reflecting on one question. What will make today meaningful? That's not busy work. That's priming your brain to look for significance rather than distraction. And once you establish that lens, you start noticing opportunities you might otherwise overlook. You start aligning your actions with your deeper values instead of just your immediate impulses. The people who drift through life are not necessarily lazy or unmotivated. Many of them are working incredibly hard, but they're working hard on the wrong things because they never pause to clarify the right things. And that is the tragedy of wasted potential, not lack of effort, but lack of direction. When you begin each day with clarity, you protect yourself from that trap. You don't need to say yes to everything because you know what actually deserves a yes. You don't waste hours on trivial pursuits because you know the vital few that really move your life forward. So tomorrow morning, before you reach for the phone, before you let the world pour its noise in your mind, pause, breathe, ask yourself, what truly matters today? Who do I want to be when I step into this world? Then set even the smallest intention to live in alignment with that answer. Because success doesn't start with chance, and it doesn't start with chaos. Success starts with clarity. And the way you begin your morning is the way you begin your life. When most people think about success, they often focus on strategy, planning, and hard work. And while those matter, there's something even more fundamental that gets overlooked: your energy. Because if you don't have the energy to execute, to stay focused, to be present, then all the strategies in the world won't matter. Energy is the invisible fuel behind every accomplishment, and the truth is, how you generate it each morning sets the tone for how much of yourself you can actually give to the world. Think of it this way. Would you ever head out for a long trip knowing your car had only 10% of gas in the tank? Of course not. You'd stop to fill up first. Yet that's exactly how many of us approach our mornings. We step into the day half-charged, mentally foggy, emotionally flat, physically sluggish, and then wonder why everything feels harder than it should. Success starts when you do the opposite, when you activate your energy before you face the world. This isn't just about exercise or diet. It's about understanding the psychology of state. Your emotional, physical, and mental states are deeply intertwined. Move your body and your mind wakes up. Breathe deeply and your nervous system calms down. Feed your mind something positive, and you immediately shift your outlook. These small actions in the morning create a cascade effect that influences how you think, how you feel, and how you show up in every interaction throughout the day. Athletes understand this better than anyone. They don't just walk onto the court cold. They warm up, they prime their muscles, they get their minds locked in. They know their performance depends on the state they generate beforehand. Life is no different. If you start your day lethargic and reactive, you're playing at a disadvantage before the game has even begun. But if you start with movement, hydration, mindfulness, or gratitude, you're stepping onto the court of life already in rhythm, already prepared. There's also a deeper level to this. Energy is not just physical, it's spiritual. When you take time in the morning to connect with something bigger than yourself, whether that's through prayer, meditation, or simple reflection, you expand your perspective. Suddenly the day isn't just a list of tasks, it's an opportunity to live with purpose. And that sense of meaning infuses you with energy that no coffee or quick fix can match. Because energy that comes from alignment with your values, with your vision, with what matters most, has staying power. It doesn't burn out by noon, it sustains you through the challenges ahead. The science supports this too. Studies show that even a few minutes of physical activity in the morning can boost cognitive performance, enhance memory, and improve mood for hours. Mindfulness practices reduce cortisol, the stress hormone that drains energy. Gratitude rewires the brain to focus on possibility instead of limitation. None of these are complicated. They don't require hours of time, but they require intention, and intention is what separates the people who drift into their day from the people who design it. Now, it's important to recognize that generating energy isn't about perfection. You don't need to wake up at 5 a.m. and run a marathon before breakfast. What matters is that you find rituals that elevate your state and make them non-negotiable. Maybe it's a 20-minute workout. Maybe it's journaling with a cup of tea. Maybe it's walking outside in silence. The practice itself matters less than the principle. You are deliberately fueling yourself before you give yourself to the demands of the world. Too many people believe they'll feel energized once life slows down, or once they achieve more, or once they have time. But that's backward thinking. Energy doesn't come after success. It's what creates success. If you don't generate it, you'll always feel like you're running on empty, chasing goals with half your potential. But when you learn to build energy into your mornings, you discover something powerful. You can actually create the state you need to thrive, no matter the circumstances. So tomorrow morning, instead of stumbling out of bed and diving straight into the noise, pause, ask yourself, how can I charge myself before I step into the world? Move your body, hydrate, feed your mind something empowering. Align with your purpose. Do whatever it takes to generate that energy, because that is the fuel that turns your intentions into reality. The truth is simple. Success isn't about how much you do, it's about how you show up. And the way you show up depends on the energy you generate. So don't wait for the world to energize you. Create it for yourself. Because when you start your day charged, focused, and alive, you don't just survive the day, you shape it. And that's where real success begins.